Bro, so I was looking at this footage again, and in this angle, Des Scrum looks like he's taller than Donovan Mitchell. And then I had to look up Donovan Mitchell's height and uh, Schroeder's height. I was about to say scrotum again, but apparently Mitchell is 6 foot, bro. I thought he was gonna be like taller than that. And Dennis Schroeder's 6'1", bro. He looks way taller than that in that angle. Alright, now after all of that, I'm recording this as Utah lost 3 out of the last 5 games prior to the All-Star break. But the Utah Jazz as a team are still 27-9, and they are the best team in the Western Conference. But we have seen this in the past, with the 2018 Toronto Raptors being the most recent. So I'm going to talk about what is making the Utah Jazz an excellent basketball team, as well as their potential ceiling and floor going into the playoffs. And let's jump right into it, y'all. If you want to be a great overall team, the first thing that you need to preach is defense. I sound like a damn advertisement right there, bro. Do you want to be a better defensive team? Then go get my product that preaches defense. Oh my gosh. But nah, for real, y'all. They are a top 5 or top 3 defensive team, because based on what I'm reading from team rankings, they are ranked number 3 in NBA team defensive efficiency. Surprisingly, they are behind the New York Knicks, who are currently ranked number 2 in defensive efficiency, and then the Lakers at number 1. Obviously, none of this would be possible without their defensive anchorman, Rudy Gobert, or in Flight Reacts words, Rudy Gobert, whom he hates so much to add on because he doesn't take 3-point shots. And Rudy Gobert has always been an efficient defensive center, and a lot of people will clown him because, yeah, he does get cooked by guys like Jokic and Embiid, but everybody got to consider these guys are talented, and obviously Gobert will have his hands full with guarding them, and to a certain extent Anthony Davis. And just because Embiid and Jokic have good performances against Gobert, that doesn't mean Rudy Gobert is a bad defender. It's just that those two centers are obviously better than him, and they are better than him. But with that being said, Rudy is still a 2-time defensive player of the year. And take Gobert off this team is not as good defensively. And Rudy is basically the heart and soul of this Jazz defense, similar to what Marcus Smart and Draymond Green are for their respective teams. But with that being said, while Rudy does play a huge part in the Utah Jazz defense, we cannot forget guys like Joe Ingles and Royce O'Neal. Joe Ingles has always been a perfect 3-and-D guy, and Royce O'Neal is just an absolute menace. Both Ingles and Royce can defend the 1s and 2s while going up against the LeBrons, the KDs, and Kawhis of the world. They are really versatile defenders, and both of them have played just as big of a role in the Utah Jazz defense as much as Rudy Gobert, even though Rudy Gobert makes up a huge part of that. I also do want to give some credit to Mike Conley, because Mike Conley has always been a good two-way player at his size, ever since his days with the Memphis Grizzlies, and more recently as of 2016-17. Mike Conley's always been a good 3-and-D guard as well as the team's playmaker. So some credit goes to Mike Conley for that. And then Bojan Bogdanovic, he's not known for his defense, but he's a pretty decent enough defender. But Conley, Ingles, and then Gobert and Royce O'Neal, they're all good defenders. So it's really not all that worrisome. And then also you have Derek Favors coming off the bench, which, to put it in context, y'all, what he is for the Jazz is what Dwight was for us and the Sixers, if you catch my drift. So overall, the Jazz are a really good defensive team. But enough talking about the Utah Jazz defense and how great it is. Let's talk about their offense. Obviously, looking at the points per game, Donovan Mitchell is their leading scorer with 25 a game. And then you have Jordan Clarkson, who is 6th man of the year. Do not at me. Jordan Clarkson is 6th man of the year, bro. Mike Conley averaging 16.1, and lastly, Bojan Bogdanovic is averaging nearly 16 a game. While it may sound like pretty stats, let's just look at how the team is doing offensively. Right now, they are shooting 46 or nearly 47% from the field, while shooting 40% from 3. And this is all 43 attempts a game. So this Utah team does take a lot of threes, and they convert a good amount of them, and they are 3rd behind the LA Clippers and the Brooklyn Nets. And also behind those two teams, they are 3rd in offensive efficiency. Again, all these stats come from team rankings. If y'all have a different source, just let me know. But if y'all want to look beyond the stats, bro, I've seen a few Utah Jazz games on national TV, and the ball never stops moving with Utah. And while y'all make the point, Jordan Clarkson can be a shot chugger at times and he can go one-on-one, it's because he is an option off the bench, or at least their main option off the bench. And Quinn Snyder utilizes him the same way teams have utilized Lou Williams in the past, whether it was the 2015 Toronto Raptors with Dwayne Casey, or how he was utilized when Doc Rivers was coaching the Clippers. And it's basically the same thing with Jordan Clarkson. And other than that, there has always been ball movement and player movement. The only differences from the past 3 years when Donovan Mitchell was on the team as opposed to now is that the ball is moving a lot more and players are consistently moving around to get open for threes because of Utah's structured offense. And like I said, they don't rely on heavy isolation plays down the stretch, similar to what the Clippers did last year in the bubble and what I ranted about in my Celtics video. But as of right now, Utah has really got going for them on both the offensive end and the defensive end. Now here's the part that I really want to discuss. Can this team make the conference finals? Or can this team make the NBA finals? Well, considering that LeBron and AD when healthy, they're obviously going to make the Lakers the best team in the West, and especially with the players we have. And then assuming Kawhi Leonard and PG-13 don't shit the bed again, let's just say, y'all, that the NBA Finals will be a tough road for the Utah Jazz, and that's me putting it nicely. But the conference finals would be just as difficult because more than likely they'll either have to face the Lakers or the Clippers in the second round. And I say potentially because, you know, we don't know where Utah is going to really end up by the end of the year. And then we don't know if they're going to have to face the Clippers or the Lakers in the second round or even the conference finals. So everything just really needs to be put in place by the time the playoffs come. So what is the Utah Jazz potential ceiling in this scenario? Well, if I'm being honest, you guys, their potential ceiling could be that of the 2019 Blazers or the 2020 Denver Nuggets, where they had to battle through a tough Western Conference. Obviously, both of them had to go 7 games with a certain opponent, or in Denver's case, had to come back down 3-1 against 2 really good opponents, ironically the Utah Jazz being one of them, but ultimately losing in the conference finals to a much better team. Obviously, the team being the LA Lakers, because the Clippers suck, but we're not going to talk about that, alright? But that still means the Utah Jazz, you know, they're still a really good team with a great season. It just, you know, they fell to a better team. But their potential floor, though, is that of, let's say, the 2018 Toronto Raptors, the 2016 Spurs when they had 67 wins, or the 2010 Cleveland Cavaliers. 3 60-win teams who did not even make the conference finals in their respective conferences and got wiped out in the second round in pretty embarrassing fashion. To put in the context, y'all, the Raptors were basically swept in the second round by LeBron James, and just LeBron James with meh-ish role players. And then the Cavaliers and Spurs, after being up 2-1, ended up losing the next 3 games, which ended their season. Now, mind you guys, I'm talking about 3 of the best teams in the league in those years, where they had similar type of stats that the Utah Jazz have. Also, just like this year's Utah Jazz, those 3 teams had all-stars and superstars as well as a good supporting cast. 2018 Toronto Raptors had Lowry and DeRozan, then you had OG, Fred VanVleet, Serge Ibaka, and Jonas Valanciunas. The 2010 Cavaliers obviously had LeBron, and then you had Anderson Varejao and Mo Williams and all those guys. And then the 2016 Spurs, you had Kawhi Leonard, LaMarcus Aldridge, and then an old Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu. You get the story. And that could be another route the Utah Jazz could go as well, but at the same time, considering Quinn Snyder is a smart coach, and all their players have a lot of playoff experience under their belt, that is a road that Utah would want to avoid as well. But Utah has been a pretty fun team to watch this year, and I do hope that, you know, my team gets to face them in the conference finals. I hope not second round, but, you know, who knows? Like I said, everything has to be settled come playoff time. And that's all I really got for the Utah Jazz. You know, Utah, just like Portland, you know, they deserve their respect, and this team will be a pretty tough outing in the playoffs. And that'll conclude my take on the Utah Jazz. And bro, in a few days, depending on when this video gonna be uploaded, bro, that is gonna be the 1-year anniversary since everything that happened in the NBA with Rudy Gobert touching mics and, you know, Donovan Mitchell getting infected with the virus. Rudy obviously had the virus, and then the NBA season shut down, and then that night is a night that everybody is not going to forget, bro. Like, if y'all know where y'all were at when all that happened, you know, it was a pretty uncertain time. And, I can't believe, yo, that it will be a year since all that happened. I might make a video about that, but at the same time, don't be surprised that if that video will never get released because it'll take like a lot of editing and a lot of thought to put in, and I might go off topic to like discuss like political things and all that shit. So I'm gonna try to keep it about basketball, but who knows if I'm gonna make that video or not. In the meantime, you're gonna get the usual outro from me. So I'm X. News. Oh wait, hold on. One definite video I will be releasing though will be my trade deadline predictions. I already have some written on my notebook, but that video will be released a week before the trade deadline. But until then, I'm X. Deuces.